3,500. That's the number that just blows my mind when I think about this Alexander McCartney case.
Yeah, 3,500 potential victims.
All between 10 and 16. And across 30 different countries. I mean, the scale of this thing.
It's unbelievable, really. It's just horrific. And that's what we're diving into today, online child abuse and exploitation.
Right. Not just the what, but like how could something like this even happen?
Right.
And more importantly, what can we do to try and prevent it?
Exactly.
So, I was reading up on McCartney, and one of the things that struck me was just how complex this whole operation was.
Oh, yeah?
He wasn't just like targeting individuals. He was creating all of these fake personas.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like something out of a spy movie or something.
It is, except it's not a movie. It's real life with real victims.
Exactly. And real damage.
Yeah.
So can you break down how these personas actually, like how do they work? What are some of the things that parents and kids should be looking out for?
Well, one really common one is what I like to call the friend collector. These predators will join online groups or forums where they know young people hang out. They'll try to befriend as many kids as possible, and often they'll pose as a teenager themselves.
Right.
And then they start grooming these victims individually. They shower them with compliments, offer a listening ear, just slowly build up trust, all to exploit it later.
It's so scary. And I guess it's hard to imagine how anybody could be suspicious of that.
It is. It's insidious.
Right. So how do these predators escalate things from like seemingly harmless chatting, to actual, exploitation?
It's a process, right? Once they've established trust, they'll start asking for small favors like pictures, personal information,
Right.
And they might use flattery or even threats to get what they want. And that's where the coercion comes in. They're using pressure, intimidation, sometimes even blackmail to force a child into doing something they don't want to do.
And it's just, it's so devastating because, like, in the case of 12-year-old Simran Thomas from the U.S.,
Right.
This abuse ultimately led to her taking her own life.
Yes.
And McCartney pled guilty to manslaughter.
Yeah.
Which really, highlights just how real the consequences can be.
Absolutely. These aren't just virtual crimes. They have a very real impact on real lives. And one of the things that makes the McCartney case even more complex is that it spans so many countries.
Right. I mean, we're talking about 30 countries.
Exactly. And that just adds this whole other level of difficulty when it comes to tracking down these predators. You need so much cooperation between different law enforcement agencies.
It really just underscores how the internet has just, I don't know, it's just blurred the lines geographically.
Yeah.
It makes it so much harder to police these sorts of things. So, I mean, what can we do? I mean, where do we even start when we're talking about trying to protect children in this digital age?
Well, I really think the first line of defense is awareness. Parents, educators, we all need to be having open and honest conversations with children about online safety. Teach them to be cautious about sharing personal information, to recognize those red flags, and to report any kind of suspicious activity.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some fantastic resources out there, like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Their website has a ton of practical guidance for parents and educators.
It's not just about restricting internet access. It's about giving them the knowledge to use it safely.
Exactly.
What about social media platforms? I mean, they have a role to play in all of this too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Social media platforms have a huge responsibility here. They need to be investing in robust content moderation systems, improving their reporting mechanisms, and working proactively to identify and remove accounts that are suspected of predatory behavior. And they need to be collaborating with law enforcement to make sure that these predators are brought to justice.
So it's like a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah.
You need the education, the awareness, the proactive stuff from the platforms themselves, and strong law enforcement working together. I mean, it's a massive challenge, but it feels like if everyone does their part, hopefully we can make the online world a safer place for kids.
I agree. I think if we all work together, we can make a difference. But it brings up another question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What more can we do? I mean, beyond our own families, our own kids, how can we help create a culture of online safety? Maybe it's supporting organizations working in this area or advocating for stronger online safety policies. It's a conversation that we need to keep having. Everyone has a role to play.
It's definitely a lot to think about.
It is.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. For our listeners, if you want to learn more about online safety resources, we'll be sure to include links in the show notes.
Please do. It's important.
Thanks again.
Thank you.